Hello, welcome to second system administrator interview video on my channel. In the first video we discussed about what is directory service, and now in this video, in the second video, we are going to discuss about what is active directory. So what is active directory? Active directory is initially a database. To better understand active directory, first of all consider a world without a system like active directory. In this world, without Active Directory, every computer on the network has its own small database of username and password. Microsoft called this kind of setup a workgroup. Initially, a workgroup is every man for themselves and there no central control. When you attempt to access another computer on the network, your computer username and password are sent to that computer to allow you to have access to the other computer. It is a simply matter of creating a username and password on that computer that you want to access. This represents two problems. First, it goes firstly it does not scale well. So when you have a small network with a few computers, you can keep this under control without too much administrative efforts. Imagine if your network grows to 10 computers. Each time a new person needs a access or an old person need to be removed from that system, you would need to visit each and every computer on the network that are affected by that change. Now imagine you have 50, 100 computers. You can see that this quickly become unmanageable. The second problem, the second problem is problem occur when a user change their password. When this occur and they attempt to access another computer on the network, the password will be different because the user changed their password. Because of this, the user will be prompted for a username and password. When attempting to access the other computer on the network, the user can use their old password to access the computer, or the password need to be updated on all the remote computers to reflect the password change. The problem occurs because there is no way to keep all the username and password are in sync with each other. In order to do this, you could use a centralized username and password system like Active Directory. So let me little bit explain you here. Uh, so suppose you are these computers are in a work group fashion, and computer want to access this computer to here in this it is a user ID and password is specific to this computer. So if this user want to access any resources from this computer or from this computer, you have to create user 1 in this computer, on this computer and this computer. So you have to create user ID and password on each and every computer where you want to the access uh, want access resources from that computer. So it is very difficult to uh, create each and every time user ID and password each and every computer. Yeah, it's totally works well if you have a 10 computers. You can easily we can do one by one, but things about once it will become like 100 or 200 of computer, how can you change user ID and password on each and every computer? It will be difficult to change that that user ID and password. So To overcome with this problem, we need a system like Active Directory. So Active Directory keep a centralized store of username and password. Any change to username and password are recorded by Active Directory, and all computers on the network have access to this information. Now we have create one Active Directory and created our user here. So if any user change their password, it will be recorded here, and all the system know about these changes. So here it is not much difficult to get access on the network. So because if you create one user here and created the password for him, he can access all the resources on the network. So it is quite easy if Active Directory in place. So um, so it may be help you to understand. It is not limited to this. Uh, I will give you more examples here. Active Directory provide centralized control over your network, but it is still flexible enough that it can be distributed across the world. We already know that it can be used to store username and password, but it can be used to store resources. Things like printer information and share information can be stored in an Active Directory. Next, Active Directory can be store information for services such as email. uh, Even I will tell you one thing: if you install Exchange on your network, Exchange is tightly, very heavily integrated with the Active Directory. In fact, Exchange cannot be installed without Active Directory. Finally, Active Directory store group policy settings. Group policy allow you to make centralized changes to the computer on the network quickly and easily. So, for answer to this question in a formal way, the Microsoft Directory Service database for Windows network store information and the resource on the network and provide a means of centrally organizing, managing, and controlling access to that resources. Recently, it renamed Active Directory Directory Domain Services, or ADDS. It was originally created by Microsoft in 1996. It was first developed on Microsoft Windows 2020K. Active Directory provide in number of functions to include providing information regarding object optimized for fast access or retrieval. Active Directory is a hierarchical structure that stores information about objects on the network. A directory service such as Active Directory Domain Services provide the method of uh, storing directory data and make this data available to the network user and administrators. For example, Active Directory Domain Services store information about user accounts such as name, password, phone number, and so on, and enable other authorized user on the same network to access this information. So Active Directory store information about object on the network and make it information easy for administrator and users to find and use. Active Directory use a structured data store as the basic for a logical and a hierarchical organization of directory information. This data store, also known as a directory, contain information about Active Directory object. These objects typically include shared resources such as server, volume, printers, and network user and the computer account. Security is integrated with Active Directory through logon authentication and access control to the object in the directory. With a single network logon, administrator can manage directory data and organization throughout their network. And authorized network users can access uh, resources anywhere on the network. Policy-based administration eases the management of even the complex network. So this information is quite fine for this question, what is Active Directory. In the next video we are going to talk about domain controller. Yeah, we can see the demo as well, how to configure the domain controller. So for this, as of now, this is you just have a look. I will provide that all the definition in the description, in a description, so you can also read through it, and best of luck for your interview. Thank you.